A movie I was so against happening.
Yeah.
This is still when I was like, not everything had been ruined for me yet.
Okay.
Like, the Batman movies got bad in the 90s, then they got good again. Those had just finished.
Oh yeah.
They inspired this film, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, Halloween was remade. That kind of sucked.
Wait, which one? Oh,
The original one was remade at this point. I'm like, well, there's something I loved as a young and ruined.
Tyler Mane.
Your best friend. But yeah, then like the Alien movies were pretty bad. Prometheus I thought was going to be good, and then it wasn't. Yeah. Now everything has been ruined, and I don't care anymore. Now I'm like,
good. So you're excited for the newer Alien movie? Alien, who gives a shit?
I'm not excited for it. I'll see it. I'm not going to be devastated if it's bad because I went through 4 terrible films.
Is Danny McBride in it?
No.
Oh, well, no, I'm good. I'm good then.
But I was thinking about this. I'm like, man, because I was watching it today. And I'm like, man, I was angry in the theater watching this. I saw it with Anthony from RoboCop. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
This was actually his box set that he lent to me. He gave me a bunch of his DVD collection. I'm like, yeah, I'll throw it on the set. That'll be fun. Specifically for this episode. But yeah, we were pissed at the time. We're like, fuck this. Again, it's PG-13.
Yeah,
we were very,
that was
very
another
mad.
mistake.
But I was rewatching it today, and I'm like, I still don't like it. But I'm not as mad as I was back then. I'm thinking of like, they remade Roadhouse recently.
Yes.
And I thought I was going to hate Roadhouse. Did you end up watching it?
Pain don't hurt. Did they use that line?
I forget if they did.
Oh.
Did you ever end up watching it?
I have not seen the new iteration.
They fucked up on the fight scenes. Everything else was actually...
That's half the movie.
Everything else was actually okay.
Yeah.
They tried to do and I actually... reviewed it. We did it on a monthly wrap up, but I clipped it on that Clips channel. So if you look up Roadhouse Remake Hack the Movies, you'll find my review of it. But yeah, they did the thing where they had an actor punching a green bag and then filmed the other actor reacting to it so you could actually have a connect, but they overdid the effect and it was super. So all the fight scenes, you could just tell for a lot of it, the people aren't really there and the camera movements feel very digital. I'm like, are they even on a set? The fight scenes ruined the movie, and the movie would have been okay otherwise.
That sucks. So it just won't be your regular Saturday night thing.
No, it will not be my Saturday night thing. However, it was still better than this remake. Yeah. So this is directed by Jose Padilla, a Brazilian guy.
Okay.
He's done a couple things since then.
Anything I've heard of?
I don't think so.
That sounds like a very prolific career.
Written by Joshua Zeddemore. This was like, as far as I can tell, his first writing credit.
That sounds familiar. Zeddemore.
But he had uncredited rewrites on Quantum of Solace, the second Daniel Craig movie, which was done during the writer's strike. So a lot of people did rewrites on that movie.
Yeah.
And he also did uncredited rewrites on The Darkest Hour, a movie where the people are stuck in Russia and aliens are attacking.
I'm not familiar with that.
Just another winner there.
Okay.
So this movie.
Yeah, Rick Flag is RoboCop.
For a while, I would not watch anything with Joel Kinnaman in it.
Really? Why?
Because I was so mad he was playing RoboCop.
He's not that bad.
Much like I've gotten over Jason Momoa for ruining Conan the Barbarian. I'm now like, I'm less critical these days. As I enter my twilight years, I'm less critical of actors' decisions. But for a while, I'm like, I'm not watching anything with Joel Kinnaman. Fuck that. And then when House of the Cards was really hot, he was in season 3. I'm like, well, I'm not going to not watch House of Cards. I guess I'll watch Joel Kinnaman in it. Yes,
I didn't make it to that season, oddly enough.
Huh?
I didn't make it to that season because, like, when I started watching House of Cards was, like, the wrong time, like, to start watching.
Yeah.
I watched it late. I was in, like, season 2, and then some things went down, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to keep watching House of Cards.
Smart. I didn't watch the last season.
Which is a shame because it was a very beautiful show.
It was a good show.
Again,
I didn't watch the last season.
Filming-wise, beautiful.
I Googled what happened, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. Probably should have just canceled the show. Anyway, so he plays Alex Murphy, RoboCop, in this.
No, you seem disappointed. Like, disappointed with the actor, disappointed with the choice of how they represented the character.
I'm disappointed in whatever that accent was he was doing. Was that supposed to be a Detroit accent?
Oh,
his
I have no
cop
idea.
accent?
I don't know.
Yeah, 2 years without no arrest, no nothing. You either got to be dumb or dirty. Why you acting so nervous, man? You fishing on us, Jerry?
I didn't like his. I'm like, what is he doing? This sounds like a first year acting student trying to be like a cop from like.
Well, that was
the
his
big city.
first big break, so maybe they wanted him to phone it in a little bit.
I don't know, but
He's a lot bigger of a deal now.
I like that they changed Lewis into a man.
Yeah,
played by the late Michael K. Williams. I believe he originally was the bad guy in Solo, a Star Wars story, when it was supposed to be motion capture. And then they had to reshoot the whole movie, and they were like, we do not have a budget for a motion capture actor. Get Paul Bettany and put some weird shit on his face. There we go.
That stinks, because like the cinematographer, I forget his name for Solo, is beautiful film.
Yeah.
Beautiful film. Sorry, I watch movies a little bit differently than most people.
No, he was the cinematographer for Arrival, which was really good.
Oh my God, Arrival's so good.
Which did he do?
Even like for a movie that not much happens in, such a great movie.
I wonder if he did Dune with Denis Villeneuve.
I forget. He's up there with like the real quality talent.
Well, speaking of Dune, we learned that Joshua Zedemer, the writer, wrote like a treatment or something for an unproduced reboot of Dune. So this movie, my problem with it, it's trying to be anything other than RoboCop. And
it's not RoboCop.
It seems annoyed when it has to be RoboCop. It does. This feels like
some of the throwbacks felt like they do we have to say these lines?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, it's part of the
it knew they were gonna live in the original one's shadow, but so the
delivery of the buy that for $1.
They throw that line in, they butcher it a little bit.
Well, there you have it. 5.6 seconds behind scenario failure. I wouldn't buy that for $1.
So they're taking the story of RoboCop and they're turning it into a superhero origin story.
So would this be considered a reimagining?
I guess so.
Like, just because it's RoboCop with the same kind of plot behind it, but with just a different everything?
I guess, yeah. Only
you know what I mean? Like, there's some little.
Some of the characters' names are the same. Not all of them.
But like the cast, oh God, that's another thing we could talk about in a good way.
Here's the thing. So again, 2014, this is when the superhero genre is exploding.
Yes.
The Dark Knight trilogy just finished. Mm-hmm. It's kicking ass. Man of Steel just came out, and DC's like, this will be our Avengers. The Avengers movies are still kicking ass. All the Marvel movies are firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie has Gary Oldman.
Gary fucking Oldman.
From the Dark Knight trilogy. Because they want to remind you, hey, if you like those movies, we got one of the guys from that movie.
One of them.
And
Gary Oldman's an amazing actor, though. Like, oh my God.
He is a great actor.
I just want to like watch The Professional now.
Then you got Michael Keaton, the original Batman from the 80s.
So good. Very talented actor once again. Plays a great villain.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean,
he's a good actor.
I enjoyed the acting.
Michael Keaton's a very good actor.
Choices, except for Rick Flag, were really good in this.
And then you have Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that was
from the Marvel movies.
Right?
It really is like, remember this guy from this thing? Remember that guy from this thing? Speaking of comic book movies, they got Jackie Earle Haley as a character named Rick Maddox, the guy who controls the drones. He was Rorschach in Watchmen.
Yes, that's why he looked familiar.
He was in another really bad remake that I covered, Nightmare on Elm Street. He was the Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Oh no,
yeah,
with the face. Yeah, with the face. Yeah.
Also, Jay Baruchel's in this.
Yeah, for just
wasn't expecting
for fun. They're just like, yeah, the guy from This Is the End. Yeah, throw him in there. I don't think the timeline worked out, but you know what I mean.
I still really don't like this movie. It just feels like they took something that was creative for the time, RoboCop. Because RoboCop wasn't like Terminator. It wasn't like a superhero. It's like a guy dies. He's now a robot. He's got to rediscover his humanity. If anything, he's trying to learn how to not be this superpowered being and try to find his original self. And they're turning it into guy dies. Now he has all these new powers. Now let's do the part of the movie where they're discovering all their powers and testing their limits.
And then they're stopping their limits because they're like, no, those limits are too limited.
Yeah, and now he's got to fight through that to fight the bad guys at the end. He's got to beat all the bad robots.
Which, that was never really a thing in any of the other movies. They were just like, hey, robot command is a robot command.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
There's no what if or how about.
He has to come up with a clever way in the first movie to work around his program.
Exactly. And this is just like, what if his willpower's just really good,
Again,
guys?
which is good for like a superhero movie trying to overcome your weakness and
willpower. Might as well make it family. Like, come on.
His family was there at the end, so the family did help with the willpower.
Yeah, I know. It's just because that's how he deviates off of his prime directive or whatever, and he starts looking at his kid because his kid's super sad.
So basically, in this world, the government is able to use military robots, drones, robots.
Yeah, the Ed-209 and all that has been militarized.
Yes, and they're using it.
Very efficient now.
They're using it overseas in wars because we didn't want to send our boys there anymore. So it's all drones. I think they're in Tehran in the beginning.
Yes.
They made it. America made it to Iran, finally. They're there. But they're not allowed to use it on American soil. And there's one senator that's stopping this. This actually sounds like a good premise for a RoboCop movie, to be honest.
Well, because they use the satire from the previous movies for the whole political aspect. You know what I mean?
This movie is humorless. It has none of the fun stuff. The closest it gets is Samuel L. Jackson as the Fox News type guy.
Yeah.
Now, I have no doubt he was manipulated by a biased media.
That's as close as it gets.
That's all.
And I would have liked to see him in the movie more.
I think that he wasn't. He should have been more over the top because it was.
Yeah.
I know they wanted to make the movie more relatable. It's like, okay, I can see that happening. Blah de blah.
Yeah.
No, the point of RoboCop is to be over the top with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they are not. They're just,
no. They should have had Samuel Jackson go. He does curse a little bit at the end.
He does. That's a nice little. That's where I wanted him to be.
Yeah.
At that extreme.
Yeah. So Omnicorp.
It's just
it gets changed OCP at the end. I think
that the logo.
Yeah.
Is literally Capsule Corp from Dragon Ball Z. I wish I was exaggerating.
It's basically
there's like a
Omnicorp.
tiny little sliver that isn't cut out. And it's the exact same logo. And I'm like, you guys tried so hard.
So yeah, in stateside, Michael Keaton, Raymond Sellers, he wants to put these militarized robots on the street.
Yeah.
But he's not allowed to because this one senator's blocking it. So they're like, okay, you know what? We'll put a man and have him cybernetically enhanced.
Yeah.
And that'll help smooth things over. And they're going through all the candidates for who could be in this RoboCop program. Gary Oldman's like, no, they're all mentally unstable. You need someone who's stable. And as luck would have it, they didn't interfere with this like they did in remember the original one? Bob Morton said, yeah, we repositioned potential candidates into high crime areas.
Yeah.
Basically making setting up the things
so that he would get a crippled person.
It's just coincidence. Alex Murphy and his partner.
Hey guys, you won't believe this. This guy's dying. All right, we're gonna totally make him.
He's
his wife is so distraught,
but it's gonna work. He got a head, some lungs, and one hand.
One hand. Way more survived. I saw the footage. They replayed it for a third of the movie.
Yeah.
There was more body left than that.
Yeah. So the problem with Alex Murphy, him and his partner were undercover, and they were trying to expose this gun running thing.
Yeah.
But the other two detectives were sabotaging them because they're dirty cops. So his partner got shot and sent to the hospital. The dirty cops plant a bomb on his car. Alex Murphy gets blown up. Not anywhere near as violent as you can replay that explosion a million times. It will not have the effect.
Which they do.
Yeah. Very PG-13 way of killing someone. They
don't even show his charred body. Star Wars showed charred bodies.
Yeah.
Same rating. Anyway.
I'm sorry. I'm not the MPAA, okay? So the wife signs over the stuff to save him. Yeah. He gets built in, I think he's in China where they're doing it.
Yeah, which is another reveal.
Yeah. So he basically becomes RoboCop, and they're
3 months later with a really shitty dream sequence scene to kind of fool you. I'm like, Come on, movie.
And they're like
We're
fucking
not
with his
that
head,
stupid.
making him think he's not in control.
Messing with his dreams and stuff.
I will say the stuff with his family, him trying to reconnect with his family, that's what I would have liked to have seen in RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
If they committed to it. Instead, they just had the wife show up and disappear and never do anything ever again.
Exactly.
So that aspect is cool. Now, when they first showed the image of RoboCop, like the behind the scenes, I went, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh, because of the
I'm like,
beautiful color scheme. You mean
the black? I'm like, why are you making him look like Batman?
And the red slanted visor, which
looks,
more continuity issues with that visor, and I will bring them up.
Okay, it looks really bad. His main suit in the film looks terrible.
I don't think it's terrible. Well, it's okay. It's terrible compared to the black suit.
No. Yeah, no. The black suit is the one I'm bitching about. That is his main suit.
I thought you meant like the
black
the gray with like that wasn't so
I'll
bad.
get back to that. Yeah. So the black suit, those pictures made it to the internet. I'm like, that looks awful. And that's the one in all the advertising. And then I see the movie and I see the gray suit and it actually doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't look bad.
It looks what I think a modern RoboCop at that time would have looked like. And I'm like, wait.
The CGI was good on that. Like, it looked half decent.
So they had a good suit. And they switched it with the shit black one to look like Batman. I'm like,
I guarantee like an actual producer, even though they just made it as sellers, like the character was like, oh, we got to upgrade it, make it more streamlined. And it's like, that is exactly what a producer off camera
that is
said.
Like a wink and a nod. That feels like a wink and a nod to Michael Keaton. Like, make it black because his bat suit was black. I get it. But so it was real frustrating to see like they had a good suit that I actually like. And they got rid of it.
Yep. Yeah, that's 10 minutes of screen time with the good suit.
Oh my god. I hate the black suit. I hate it. It just looks awful. He doesn't look like RoboCop. He looks like fucking Snake Eyes from the G.I. Joe movie.
That I literally have in here in my notes. I'm just like, hey, remember that scene with the G.I. Joe suit? Because this is the same.
Or just any ninja, like cyber ninja. It just looks
like a Terminator kind of feeling.
Yeah.
It was.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's not. It's not good. I agree.
And his acting's not good in this. He ends up being a better actor later on.
At least his face looks not like
but even then
it doesn't look repulsive, kind of like in the second
then
and
they don't have
third,
the skin wrapped over the thing.
I prefer the not skin wrap.
Really?
Yeah, I prefer it does look a little silly. It looked like he was just wearing a helmet. But after like a little bit, I'm like, okay, this is more appealing to me because they have a lot more with him, just his face. You know what I mean? I feel like they hide it in the other ones because of costs and prosthetics, but
what was the point? Well, that's another thing. So if you're going to rip off Iron Man, make him look more like Iron Man, I guess, than Batman.
Yeah.
But they are doing the Iron Man thing where the head's finally coming off.
They're even talking to like Jay Baruchel's just like, oh, the kids love when he transforms. They love when he transforms. Okay, yeah.
So they have a couple nods to the original. They have the guy going, I wouldn't buy that for $1. But then they show... They're like, oh yeah, this one tested really well, and it's the original RoboCop design,
and it looks. I'm just like, use that.
But then they're like, it transforms. The kids love it, and like they even the whole thing are like, nah, they don't know what they want. I'm like, no, I want that.
We all want that.
Although it is the original RoboCop look, but they made it look a little stupider.
A little bit. Well, so I feel like they made the head.
So
look
if you hadn't seen RoboCop in a while. And you're watching this remake, you're like, oh, is that what he looked like in the original? That looks stupid. It's like, nah, they dumbed it up a little bit. It didn't look quite that clunky in the other movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, can you name a single memorable action thing from this film? Like an action sequence that really stood out to you?
It stood out because it underperformed, and that was the night vision scene where he uses his night vision and all the bad guys turn the lights out because they just wanted to be at a disadvantage for some reason. I guess
so, yeah.
They're just like, hey guys, I know he can see in the dark and we can't. So let's all put goggles on and turn the lights off.
They knew that, but yeah.
Okay, good point. They might not have known that, but like, how stupid
well,
are
still,
you?
Then you'd all be in the dark and you'd all probably shoot each other.
That's what it just... Yeah. I knew the reason it impacted me is because, like, within that time frame, the movie Sicario, Amazing movie. Great
Still haven't
cinematography.
seen. I need to see it. I need to see it.
It's amazing cinematography. They like invented a special camera to do night vision scenes.
Yeah.
Like right around this time frame.
And
So
this
then
one-
when I saw this, I was just like, what is this garbage?
I'm trying to think. Okay.
Like it was an unnecessary
Yeah.
night vision scene that didn't get executed as well as I think that they wanted to make just this cool action scene in the dark. It's like, no.
I'm thinking of like memorable. Okay, RoboCop 2. The opening where he saves the hostage, the baby hostage.
Yeah.
With the ricochet.
Yeah.
Good. When RoboCop 2 like attacks his old crew, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, the final fight, as cartoony as it is, it's memorable.
Yes.
RoboCop 3, I like when RoboCop takes the Pimpmobile.
The pimp, yeah.
And it
I
like
remember
keeps
that.
getting more and more destroyed, where it's just him like driving basically nothing.
And it turns into a convertible. It's
Yeah.
just-
That was fun. The ninja fight, kind of fun. There's
Yeah, the ninja
nothing
There's
fun about RoboCop 2014. Like, that's memorable. Like, I can't remember shit. And I just you watched me watch this.
Yeah, this is my first time watching this as well. I just watched it yesterday, and
Then they saved like this really big action scene with the motorcycle and stuff at the end.
Yeah.
And it's CGI garbage. Like it's on par
bad.
with how bad the stop motion was in 2 and how
The Ed-209 fight, like the logistics of how fast RoboCop moved was just like physically impossible movements. You know what I mean? Like the momentum behind it. Because think like in Pacific Rim. Now, Guillermo did an amazing job.
Yeah.
He knew like, all right, robots are big. It takes a minute to like punch.
Yeah.
So there's going to be weight behind it. It's not going to be like instant.
Yeah.
And in this, he's just zip, 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 zip. He's just like, he's moving around.
And the problem
I'm
is,
taking
like-
these good movies that happen around the same time, and RoboCop just ignores all the good
problem
examples.
Because he's still walking really clunky. So when he switches to the CGI that can jump real far, it doesn't feel like the same thing.
It doesn't. And it has like the premium rush vision where you can see his trajectory.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that movie with
yeah, I
Joseph
did.
Gordon, the bike movie.
Yeah.
Why is this movie taking from the bike movie? Come on.
That I didn't mind so much the readout, like predicting where he's going to jump.
Yeah, but
even like the Ed-209. So again, remake. We got to go bigger and better. It'll be more Ed-209s. It'll be even bigger.
I thought the Ed-209s were done proper this time. They looked intimidating. They looked
okay.
like they would mess you up. Well, they
But,
looked
like-
more intimidating than the previous ones.
No, I like the previous ones. They look cool.
They're not
Their
intimidating.
head looks like a microphone.
But they're
I like
not
it.
intimidating.
But like in the first one, that was kind of fun because RoboCop was at a disadvantage. He didn't have his weapons.
Stairs.
He was hurt. Yeah, he had to figure out a clever way. This one, he's just like, I'm just gonna shoot it a lot until it falls down,
Action scene.
and then I'm gonna run away. And I'm like,
CGI action fight.
yeah, and I'm gonna be a CGI cartoon in between. I'm like, this
Mm-hmm.
sucks.
Yeah. And that just brought on more of the Visor inconsistencies. I don't know if you noticed, but during this,
Well, I know
whole
it like
movie,
breaks at one point.
So he doesn't. It's not his eyes. His
Yeah.
eyes are like one of them. I think got messed up from the explosion, or
Yes.
whatever, and one of them's normal. But
Yeah.
only when his visor is down does he like see these target matches and such, and like it actually targets people.
Huh.
But
Well, he was
but
definitely
half-
scanning
But
pe-
but he's scanning people visor up or down.
Yeah, they
Later
don't make
on
that.
in the movie, there's not like is the visor what's because they plug him in and they give him all the database stuff
Yeah.
on the visor. Later in the movie, he can do that without the visor.
Well, in the original one, it wasn't like the visor. The visor was just to protect.
Yeah, it
them.
was just like a helmet. But in this one, like they were just like they're trying to make it very specific. The visor version is very different than the normal version because
Also,
the
it's
visor
like-
version's a robot.
It is annoying when it was
he's
like
normal human.
It was cracked, and then it
Yeah.
shows his POV, but then the
And
POV
it's
isn't all cracked.
and
Yeah,
it's the inconsistencies of the visor kind of upset me a little bit. But I'm me, and those things annoy me.
yeah. And like I said with the other two films, the OCP, the corporation stuff, is more. I'm much more invested in it. So like,
Yeah.
I actually got this time watching. I'm like, wow, Gary Oldman's doing a good job here. And
Yeah.
I hope he like shows his boss what's up. And I'm like, oh, Michael Keaton's trying to do this and whatnot. I'm like, I got invested in just the inner workings of the corporation.
Yeah.
And every time RoboCop came on, I'm like, get out of here. You're not RoboCop. Where's Peter Weller? And also, okay, like I know he's a bad guy, Michael Keaton, but he never feels like the bad guy, and then at the end he just is the bad guy.
He just feels like corporate greed.
He feels like normal shitty corporate guy, but like there's not like, I know the plan is to get the bill passed so he can put more robot cops on the street.
So he can be richer than
but I'm just like, okay, I mean, there's some ethical stuff with that, but that doesn't really seem like a bad guy. Like in the original, they're trying to tear down Detroit and move people from their homes.
Innocents.
To make a new city and kick all the old people out, but also have new crime in the new city.
Mm-hmm.
So like shitty things are going to happen. But like this one, I'm like, all right, I guess we're going to have robot cops. I mean, that'll suck, but I guess it was just...
Sounds like Ultrons all around the world.
Yeah, he just never feels like the bad guy. And then he just is at the end.
Well, it's because he has to be. Because it's like, oh, this goes all the way up to the top. Oh, how high does it go? Oh, I wonder. Maybe the...
Yeah, and that's just a coincidence because, like, RoboCop solves his murder.
Yeah.
Which freaks them out because, like, the chief of police was involved with it. And they're like, wait a minute.
And that's when they shut him down for the plot's
They're like,
sake.
wait a minute. Politicians aren't going to like that. We have to put some limits on them. But then they're like, what if he starts investigating you? Just what you're doing, Michael Keaton? He's like, uh-oh. Not like he was involved with this killing.
He instantly goes to kill him.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, later on, because he thinks he has his wife and kid hostage. It's a mess. It's doesn't feel like RoboCop, and when it's its own superhero origin thing, it's very bland and it doesn't stand out enough.
It held my attention better than RoboCop 3. I can tell you that. Like RoboCop 3, I found myself having to, all right, Tom, pay attention. Yes, RoboCop is still injured. Okay, what are they talking about? That I am supposed to give a shit about.
They all have their issues.
At least like the pacing in the 2014 one was at least a little more like, okay, all right, this happens, that's the reaction. This happens, that's the reaction. Action film. Okay. Explosions, bullet. Okay, what like, comes it's formula.
All the sympathetic characters are like nothing. Like I like Michael K. Williams, but him as Lewis, kept forgetting he was in the movie.
He didn't do anything.
The wife was hot. But like the wife and kid, that's the interesting moments. That's like one of the new elements.
The humanizing him.
Yeah,
trying to go
but
for
then
the
they're
humanized
just
kind
of sprinkled in. She just looks angry for most of the movie.
Well, she only can play a one-dimensional character, which is I'm nothing with them. It's bad script writing.
Yeah, and then it just kind of ends.
I have a problem with the ending a little bit.
Oh, my problem with the ending, the whole helipad. That is the most blue screen thing I've ever seen.
Like, and then they jammed the "Dead or Alive, You're Coming with Me" line.
Oh God!
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Also, do you want to do the gritty inner city stuff from Dark Knight, or do you want to do the hologram sci-fi stuff from the MCU? They couldn't decide which one to go in on.
They couldn't. Well, everyone's phones were the touch
because it's in the future. It's 2020 something.
So everything is see-through. Digital screen, because that's every future movie now.
Yes.
Ever since Iron Man.
All the holograms and shit.
Everything has to be a hologram since Iron Man.
I'm so tired of
I'm
hologram.
not upset because I love Iron Man, the movie, but...
Well, I hated in Prometheus, which is like set before the first Alien movie, and there were holograms everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck is a hologram?
Yeah, technology was like, just like in Star Wars. You know, the technology back when
Oh,
Jedi
God.
was good, and then suddenly technology shit.
So I don't hate it as much as I did the first time. I'm just indifferent to it now. I forgot it existed.
Yeah.
Much like before this episode, I forgot Roadhouse existed. Now I'm just at a point where I just forget them. It's going to be a long time before a remake really like horrifies me. And
like Murphy Brown.
I will say, you know what? One remake that was recent that really like made me angry. The Mean Girls musical remake.
Oh, I did not.
Really bad.
Is it still Tina Fey though?
Yeah, she's there.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Some of the
if
actors,
it's not good, I mean, that's unfortunate.
Some of the actors come back as the same
Amy
characters, but it's not a sequel. It is a remake just with songs. But the songs are bad. And they ruin the story. It's a mess. It's a mess. Like that remake, the remake of Mean Girls upset me more than the remake of Roadhouse, and now this. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm getting angry at the remake of Mean Girls.
Wow, all right.
I've spent 10 years hating the RoboCop remake.
Okay.
I got it out of my system. Mean Girls, it's going to be another 10 years before I get that out of my system. That was a really bad remake.
God. Yeah, I didn't... I enjoyed the ride, but I wanted the ride to be much more violent and much more satire.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed that so much
You
in the
get rid
first
of
and
the-
second movie. And
You get rid of the violence and the satire, and you get rid of a lot of what makes RoboCop RoboCop.
Oh, the satire's half of RoboCop.
As
in my
much
opinion.
as
Just making fun of the extremes of the conglomerates.
As much as these production companies and stuff want to make RoboCop a family-friendly superhero for the kids, like he's not that. They watch the first movie. He's not that.
No, he's not meant to be that.
No.
Never was.
Anyway, we've come to the end.
We have. It's a shame we had to end it that way. There's
Tom?
there's better ways we could have ended it, you know.
I think I already know, but what is the worst RoboCop movie?